everyone. All right. Today is the Q&A. I'm kind of having a bit of a scattered day, a little bit. Just before starting, then Amazon came with a little bit of an order. So there we go. So today is the Q&A. You can see my cat in the background there. Today's Q&A. So we're focusing on parenting our children right now within this strange time that we're in. Thursdays will always be a Q&A, but I will be coming in asking everybody what questions they would like to focus on. This was just the two that came up in the poll that I asked early last week. We kind of talked about what everyone was feeling challenged in and how that was kind of throwing off balance. So last week we talked about your own balance, and this week we're talking about your kids. Saying that, I've got to say that there hasn't been a lot of questions, and everyone hasn't really we haven't gotten into the flow of this. So if you do have questions and they're coming up now, you can feel free to pop them into comments. We can kind of go through whatever we can go through in this time. I think it's really important to remember that when I do lives, it's really great when there are questions, because it kind of creates more of a momentous flow. So it gives me a good idea of what you would like to talk about, what you need, how I can support you the best, and also how I can support your kids, because it's an interesting thing. Because I will say that, over the last while, there's been some times where I've been like, well, I work with the parents, so do I just work with parents, because we don't talk about kids very often? And then with this whole situation, my passion for making sure that children are having the tools and ability to feel calm and focused and present and develop their own inner worlds is more and more important in my mind. So there's been a couple of questions that have flown through via email and different conversations that I've been having. So I thought I would jump into those first and see if anything else kind of comes up. Mainly, the interesting thing is that for a lot of people, what's kind of showing up is that children aren't necessarily expressing the fear that they're feeling. It's really an interesting time as a parent to kind of navigate through some of the different behaviors or tendencies that your kids might be portraying. This could show up in everything from wanting more cuddles at night, to climbing into bed with you, to even having more temper tantrums or feeling a little bit out of control. It's important to realize that you've probably heard me talk about it over the last couple of weeks, that energetically, everything feels really spiky. It feels like there's this tension building that's really, really high up in everyone's heads, and it's kind of feeling like everyone's on edge, needless to say. And a child is going to feel that more and more. So if you find that your kids are having more temper tantrums, or jumping into defense mode more often, or kind of feeling more aggressive or more high anxiety, then it's good to remember that energetically what they're sensing is that sense of heightened up, right? And so it's that kind of energy in the air of creating that, hi Mira, nice to have you. So there's going to be that sense of tightness, that they feel really, really high up in their consciousness and in their energy. So a couple of little things that you can kind of do to smooth this path. And that's going to be, one, focusing on your feet and focusing on their feet. As you know, if you work with me at all, you know that I often talk about focusing on feet. Energy flows where attention goes. So if you are giving attention, if right now everyone's feeling really spiked up and it feels really, really, really tense, that up in the higher fields, then if you focus on your child's feet, or you ask them to focus on their feet, then they're going to feel more grounded. They're going to feel more safe. Okay, so dealing with grounding them, helping them feel that security is really, really going to provide that sense of security and release some of that fear. Different ways that you can do this. Yeah, if your child is, oh, my pleasure. Nice to have you, Christina. Thank you for coming in. If you're feeling that your child is having their attention and they're really, really feeling tense in their bodies, and they're feeling that overwhelmment kind of circling, because it's really important to remember that kids are really sensitive to energy, and especially our generations of children now, they're picking up on everything. So if you imagine the energy that's swirling around the world right now, then that's really going to influence how they feel in their bodies. So in their bodies, if they're feeling really stressed out and feeling tense, you can be talking to them. Get down on your hands and knees. Put your hands even beside their feet. If you're sitting on the sofa with them, sit at the end of their feet. And, you can just massage their feet. You can kind of hold them. You can, you can tell them what you're doing. It's like, hey, you know what? Let's massage your feet. Let's get your energy flowing down to your feet and help you feel more grounded and feel more centered or feel more safe. So you can kind of create that with an energy shift of just focusing on your feet. If your kid is not going to be into that kind of stuff and they're more active, get them stomping, get them dancing. Make sure that it's really rooted. Really rooted activity is going to stimulate the energy from being all stressed and uptight and create more flow so that they feel grounded and stable and centered. So stomping, dancing, you can do yoga, you can do like a tree movement where, you all pretend to be trees and you make sure that you focus on the roots going down deep into the ground. You can be receiving the energy from above and then asking the energy to flow down, and you can have it focusing down into the ground like deep roots. That's going to create stability. All right. So it's going to create a sense of centered, conscious, shift so they feel grounded and balanced. So if they are feeling scared, then that's a really good idea to kind of create that. Bedtime is always a really important time to actually create a sense of stability as well, because you have to remember that the way you go to sleep, the energy that you hold while you go to sleep is actually what you carry with you through the night until morning. So if it's a frantic, stressed out energy, then you're going to find that kids wake up more stressed out as well. So bedtime, even if you have to push bedtime like forward half an hour or something so that you can have a calm, relaxed, conversational, flowing bedtime where it can become about nice, pretty stories and maybe some nice music, maybe using something like relaxed kids meditations, or I have a meditation that I have on YouTube, creating like different energy. And this is where it really comes in. And this is what we're going to be talking a lot when we do the 7-day challenge around April 10th, that it's going to be about creating the energy of safety within your home. So it's really about how do you want to feel in your home and how do you want bedtime to feel? Well, bedtime, it's really nice to feel calming, slowing down, talking slower, a really beautiful energy that you can go to sleep with. How do you want to feel when you go to sleep? And so you can have these conversations with kids. They really understand this. It's really important to talk to kids about how they're feeling right now. This is not a, no, everything's fine. It's really about, yeah, right now, things are a little shaky out there, but don't worry, our home is safe. We're keeping our home safe. This is a really safe space. And because we're focusing on feeling safe, then we're going to create that feeling within us. And we can do steps when we walk out the house to feel safe as well. So we're going to focus on feeling safe and healthy and well. Don't worry, there's nothing we can't deal with here. We're going to be okay. And we can do this together. And you create this teamwork effort that we're doing this together. And you can throw this, it throws a little bit of a fun curve if all of a sudden this time is more also about, but we're connecting. Isn't it great that we're together? Isn't it great that we can do things together? What have we always been curious about doing together? Oh, I've always wanted to watch this movie with you, or I've always wanted to do this craft. What have you always been curious about? And stimulating the creative side that's possible right now and releasing the fear story so that it becomes about your life in the home is a safe zone. It's about connection together. It's about sharing and enjoying curiosities together and working together on this. When you go out into the home, I've had a few people talk about how their kids are actually now scared to go out. It's important you can even do something like before walking out of the house, creating like a bubble of safety that happens to go 3 meters, 2 meters, right? It's like, let's have a bubble of light that grounds us and focuses us. Let's use this as health and well-being. Don't worry, nothing is going to get through this bubble of light that we walk through as we walk down the street. You can work on Using energy. That's the other thing that we're going to be working on in the 7-day challenge, where I want to make sure that kids are having the tools of energy work and understanding their intention for energy as it surrounds everything. So if they're taking out a toy, it's like, well, we'll wash it when we get it home, we'll clean it when we get home, but before that also, let's make sure that we surround it in love, surround it in light. Linking that together, that your kids understand that where their intention goes, their energy flows. If they intend something to be full of love, then it will fill with love. And so therefore that's kind of leading that all in together. Allowing a child to be scared is really important. Being acknowledging, yeah, sure, absolutely, it's really scary. But it's not about being the scared. It's like you can feel scared, you can feel worried, you can feel stressed, but we can also put our attention on feeling relief and safe and joy and fun. And we can feel this way or we can feel that way. That's not who we are. Right? So it's an interesting thing. If you look at breath work or some of like hypnosis or different mind processes, what your actual vocabulary of I am scared is actually saying that you are scared. Where really, if you are saying I feel scared, you're actually allowing that emotion to be over here and not defining yourself. So if you kind of make that definition and start training your own vocabulary to reflect that, you're going to find that your kids can feel the own stability of also being true to themselves. So I feel scared, I feel worried, I feel concerned, rather than I am scared, I am worried, I am concerned. It's a very subtle shift, but they're going to feel that they can separate their emotions from that. It's interesting because even doing things like talking about it, talking about feelings, drawing feelings. My kids, like 3 years old, were like making sure that we drew emotion. How does this feel? What does it look like to feel this way? Even just like squiggles of like red or yellow or blue, whatever was going to represent the feeling. So understanding that feelings are something you experience rather than think about. So, was that an answer? Maybe. Okay. Really, to pinpoint that, focus on their feet, help them ground, help that fear be released to the ground. Making sure that that's like stomped out and totally acknowledged and yet released. Making sure that they surround themselves in a bubble of safety and love and light, understanding that home is safe. Over the next few weeks, I want to make sure that we do a few things that really create safety, security, wellness, happiness, joy within the house. So your house becomes this sanctuary of a vibration of how you want to feel, the frequency of how you want to feel and how you want your home to feel. That's what I'm shifting as where I think the direction of how we should be working into this. How does your house feel? How do you want it to feel? I'm working through that with your kids. So that is going to create stability. At the same time, I am not going to say that kids' fear isn't going to show up as what some would term as behavior. So you may find that kids are rebelling more or freaking out more or they're releasing things. If that's happening, see it as a release. Shift the story in your head from, oh my God, how am I going to deal with this for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks or a month or until summer? Rather than allowing that mind chatter to go, just say, okay, so this is unpacking. This is unpacking all of the big emotions that everyone's feeling right now. This is their way of releasing it and getting it out. So have that in mind and kind of just talk about it openly of saying, yeah, you know what? I totally get that you're feeling the big feels right now. This is totally a time of absolutely. I'm here for you. If you want to start feeling better, come and talk to me. We can figure this out together. You don't have to do this alone. I'm here. And it really does come down to acknowledging the feeling behind what's showing up. Like this is like conscious parenting at its best, right? Where it comes into saying this behavior is not a definition of them as a person or as you as a parent. It's coming down to their feeling stuff they've never felt before, and it is being processed. And this is every age. I mean, us too, right? Within our ages, we are saying, whoa, we're feeling things we've never felt before. It's an interesting thing to process. But because we processed a variety of things, we can break it down in smaller chunks. But for them, this is especially a child like 7 to like 13, 14, 18. No, there's going to be a span where they go, I've never felt this and I have no idea what this is, and this is really terrifying. So I'm just going to let it bubble up and explode. And them letting that bubble up and explode is actually creating a bit of stability if you're the stability after. If you're there saying, yep, it's big, absolutely, you can let this go scream in a pillow, go do something in your room, make sure that you get some clay out, let's take all our emotions out on the clay, let's make sure that we thump on the piano, it's all Mr. Rogers stuff. But then you can also always, it doesn't mean that it's giving people permission to be nasty. Okay, so if you are finding that your kids are cross-pathing paths with each other and they're all blowing up at each other, if you have more than one, and everyone's crossing paths, or perhaps they're not being very nice to you, it is a time of empathy, and it's important to remind that too. It's okay to pull kids aside and say, hey, this is affecting everyone. This is not just one person experiencing, this is the whole world. So this is a really important time for us all to be nice to each other. So you can feel whatever you want to feel, but we do have to make sure that we're also supporting everybody else, that they can feel the way they want to feel. And that's going to be the beginning seeds of empathy in this, of making sure that it's like, hey, how do you want to be treated when you get to explode? Okay, we have to treat everybody the same, the way you want to be treated, and you have to be kind, because this is a time where kindness really, really matters. If you want to play totally dirty pool, and you are allowed, if you want to remind everyone that immunity is best when everyone is feeling not stressed out and not angry, that is actually a scientific fact. So you can also add that in of saying, actually, hold on, it's really important that everybody's nice and calm and focused and kind and full of love right now, because we are creating a safe environment where we can thrive in health. So you can filter those kind of things in as well, because it's the truth, in all honesty. So having that pumped up energy in the house is really, you're diffusing it in whatever way you can, acknowledging it, making sure that everyone's aware of it. Okay, so I kind of combined both questions really about how to deal with a child's fear, because you're going to find spiritual practices as solutions for those with me. So, but it is a good time to also consider creating spiritual rituals or ceremonies or connections with your kids, and really acknowledging the unseen, and creating that bridge where it is about feeling taken care of. As a family, creating a space where you do like open up and asking to be cared for, and creating meditation times, and making sure that your kids are seeing you do those self-care times. I think like for today, that's really where I wanted to kind of put that emphasis of making sure that you are acknowledging that you are that you are practicing these steps, because it creates stability for yourself. And then inviting your kids to join you is going to kind of make that link where they feel open to explore those kind of things. It's like, if you're sitting there meditating, your child can come and do beads or do something calming and match the energy. It's important in all this to understand that kids do always understand energy. They match energy. It's like, it's the same. When you used to wake up and your child was like a newborn, and you would wake up in the middle of the night and you would see they were still sleeping, and you'd almost freeze because you're like, oh my God, they're gonna wake up. And they would always wake up because they would sense your energy and then match your energy. They always match stress. They'll always match. They have an inbuilt intuitive system which will match energy. So therefore, if you show how you are dealing with the energy of the situation and finding that grounded presence, then they're going to also pick up on that as well. Okay, so those are the two questions. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to kind of take a drink of my water and see if anything comes up. Just pop it into the comments. Sometimes there's a lag, so I'm going to kind of hold on and wait a second. I definitely, these are the things that we're going to be delving in more and more over these coming weeks, because I want to make sure that everyone has really practical tools. So while I wait to see if any questions are popping up, I will just say that I'm making a few changes to my 7-day challenge, because I realized that, quite honestly, it's not just about stability, it's about spiritual stability. So it's going to be, you're going to see the new images and new kind of write-ups, because I realized that I wasn't fine-tuning it to the way I really wanted to fine-tune it. And the way I wanted to fine-tune it was to being about spiritual connections and spiritual stability, and making sure that you're feeling grounded and rooted in your spiritual selves and allowing spiritual energy to flow through the house. That it wasn't just about keep calm, keep calm, keep calm, which you're going to find a lot of places on the internet. I wanted to make sure that this was about creating a time where your home can resonate with spirituality flowing through the walls, that you can know that for even after all of this has passed, that your kids have a deeper understanding that spirit is flowing, that they can tune in to something greater than themselves, something that's within them, and that they are using these types of resources to resolve problems. This is a really important time to remember that this is like one of those times that we all get to show up as the people we want to be, rather than just falling into reaction. There's a break in the pattern. And when there's a break in the pattern, you get to chart the course of how you want that to flow. So reminding our kids and giving the kids tools that they can use in any situations over their lives. They're going to remember that how we dealt with this situation, that this is where it's at. So yeah, so I'm changing the challenge that starts on April 10th. It's still going to start on April 10th, and a lot of the exercises will still be the same exercises. There'll still be 2 for you to find your connection, 2 for your kids so that they can explore connection, and then 2 for the family, and then 1 as a ceremony for your house, so that energy and spirit really do flow, and that sense of stability and interconnection is really working. So that's what is going to be kind of coming forward for that. All right. So I don't see any questions, but if you do have any questions further down the line, then you can, if you watch this and then something comes up, just pop it into comments. I'll get the notification and I can happily answer those in another time of the day or within the group for sure. All right. By all means, you can reach out at any time. I am more than happy to help in whatever way I can to make sure that this isn't just a time of pushing through, but there's such a growth for you and your kids right now, because I think that's really what this time is being asked to do. You know, the earth is, I keep saying, the earth is healing. You know, the ozone layer is clearing, like healing. Everything is healing. It's vitally important that we ourselves are doing our own healing and also laying the foundations for our kids. So in their lives, they're not faced with the same healing that has been so often in the things in the past. So creating these skills for them so that everyone charts forward from a new space is so vitally important. All right. Love and light, everyone. I will talk to you all tomorrow. And again, if you have any more questions, just pop them on in. Okay. Love and light. Bye.